World of Warcraft has never shied away from adding more silly or just quality of life ensuring items to the game in the form of toys. Toys can be collected by players and perform a large variety of niche fun effects, like simple cosmetic animations for your characters, summoning things, or the odd actual useful item like the various toy boxes and hearthstones. In this list, we're going to go over the rarest toys in the entire game that can still be obtained. Anything like the TCG or removed toys will not be counted in this list. We'll also try to exclude newer toys added to the game, as they will naturally have a lower collection rate than others due to their recent addition. And at number 10, we have the All-Seer's Eye. This toy would function essentially as a priest's mind vision ability that now every class could use. It will last for 1 minute with a 30-minute cooldown, and while channeling, you can press an extra action button on your target to whisper them with a predetermined message. This message could be, a fresh set of eyes, just what I needed. Some demons enjoy standing in the fire. You should try it sometime. Don't stop what you're doing on my account, I'll be right there. Did you mean to do that? And lastly, oh, finally, something worth watching. Go on then, entertain me. In order to obtain this toy, you must first locate the All-Seer's focus located randomly around the Antoran Waste. There are 5 known spawn points of the focus, including the cave the NPC vendor is located in. If you check a spot and it's not there, that means the focus is in another one of the locations, and you just have to find it. Clicking it will deal about 90% of your health as damage. You will receive a buff called Agent of the All-Seer for 1 hour, and it will now allow you to loot the necessary item to purchase the toy, Intact Demon Eyes. Next, you must locate the NPC, Oryx the All-Seer. These eyes are farmed from the demons in the Antoran Waste, and you must collect 1,000 of them in total to purchase the toy. The other side effect of farming this is that you're turned into a demon and will be marked as hostile to all previously friendly NPCs, meaning you cannot reconvene with them for any other reason unless you remove your buff and get it again later on, or if all your allies also have the buff. Once you've recovered 1,000 of the eyes, you can purchase a toy and go around scaring your friends, making them wonder who's whispering them, as it does not work on NPCs. Funny enough, it used to actually dismount players as well. Mid-flight, a player could be sent crashing to their death out of nowhere and receive a super cryptic message from an unknown force. It's definitely worth farming if you want to mess with people, aside from it no longer dismounting them. And at number 9, we have the Barrel of Eyepatches and Bandanas toy. This toy can be collected by rogues and only rogues by pickpocketing high-level humanoid creatures from the Legion expansion. To be eligible to loot the necessary currency, you must complete a short quest line with Grifta. Grifta is a vendor NPC who will tempt the player into buying his many totally amazing, useful, and powerful wares with the coins that they've acquired. Basically, he'll just scam you out of a bunch of your gold for a bit, and then an NPC named Alibus will spawn. Just talk to him a bunch and he'll reward you with the Lamp of Alibus, allowing you to become eligible to loot the coins of air currency. As you progress the quest Alibus has given you, he'll offer you more items like the Shining Lamp of Alibus and the Gleaming Lamp of Alibus. These items allow you to loot additional items off of mobs that convert into more coins of air. Once you've obtained a massive haul of 50,000 coins of air, you must return to the Rogue Order Hall beneath Dalaran and speak to Grifta. You can then choose to purchase either the Barrel Bandanas or Eyepatches, as they're both worth the same amount of coins, totaling 100,000 or 50k for each. Using this toy is pretty simple. You place a barrel of your choice, and when you click on it, your character will don either a bandana or an eye patch on their face, showing off the many wares that Grifta had. The more unique thing about this is that everyone around you can also click this barrel, and you can have an entire raid team wearing matching bandanas or eye patches when you go and take on a boss. It's a relatively simple grind, if not time consuming, and many players just aren't aware it exists, since many rogue players forget pickpocketing still exists. The barrels come out at around to a 2% obtain rate amongst all players, nearly tying our previous entry. And at number 8, we have Hellbent Bracers, added in patch 8.3 of BFA. This toy was incredibly straightforward in its usefulness, and when used, it makes your player model perform the flex animation and removes any gear on your top half of your character's body. To farm this toy, you must kill an NPC called the Grand Executor during the N'Zoth Assault in Oldham. N'Zoth assaults during BFA are on a bi-weekly rotation, with the opposing assault taking place in Pandera's Veil of Eternal Blossom. If the N'Zoth assault is focused in Pandera, you cannot get attempts on this NPC for these bracers. However, each invasion has many unique rewards, so you spend a lot of times at both of these invasions. If you're fortunate enough to have the assault focus on Oldham, however, when you decide to farm this toy, you will find the NPC most commonly spawning near the peak of Neferset. His spawn timer can consist of about 1 to 2 hours, and the toy is known to have a very low drop rate amongst players. There's nothing you can really do to speed up the timer either. So on top of the bi-weekly rotations the mob has, and the daily loot lockouts most rares have, you'll need to wait an hour or so for him to reappear and try again on another character, or until you run out of vaults, and have to wait another day, or at worst, a week to try again. What is slightly less annoying, however, is if your character is simply high enough level to enter Oldham when it's being invaded by N'Zoth, you do not need the legendary cloak from BFA. You can just enter the zone and it should show the N'Zoth invasion with or without the quest completed. Some people report attempts in the hundreds before they even saw their friends get this toy, leaving a great chunk of people stuck. If you aren't a collector aiming for the 100%, this toy is nothing truly special, but definitely leaves a mark on your mental if you choose to go for it. And at number 7, we have the Smolderheart toy. This toy drops from the rare Sire Landris and Ravendreth. In order to make this rare spawn, you must pick up a remnant of light near the desiccation, and use the new light impalement ability you get on a crazed ash ghoul. Throwing the remnant at the ghouls will have a small chance to trigger a yell from the ghouls. If they yell, the light burns in your chat, it means the rare will eventually come to the middle of the zone after some RP interactions, and you may kill it for an attempt at this toy. This grind was incredibly boring for a lot of players involved, and you could spend a few hours or so before you got lucky enough to actually force the rare to spawn. Even when you finally do that, you have to be quick and make it to the center, as it was not too hard to accidentally miss out on the rare because of its low health, and forbid you get there after an enemy of the opposite faction has tagged it. To make it even worse, the rare only has a small percent chance to actually drop Smolderheart for you. When used, this toy would add a fire effect to your character's shoulders for 20 minutes on a 5-minute on-use cooldown, meaning you could keep them up for basically ever. For transmogs enthusiasts and roleplayers, this item can be incredibly crucial to their style, as it can persist for as long as they wish to complete a look. It's incredibly low in collection rate and many people just ignore it altogether, barely reaching a 1% amongst all people. And at number 6, we have Mayhem Mind Melder, obtained from completing the Shadows Revealed Pet Battle Dungeon achievement. In order to obtain this achievement, you will be asked to complete the numerous Pet Battle dungeons in the game. These dungeons consist of the Wailing Caverns, Gnomeregan, Blackrock Depths, Dead Mines, and Strathholm. Pet battles in WoW are like a knockoff version of Pokemon where you obtain hundreds of different types of pets and make them fight each other in a turn-based system. Each pet has a designated family type, and depending on the family, it can either counter or be countered by other pet families. Once you've gathered your team of pets and believe you're ready to enter the Pet Battle dungeons, you now just need to go through the gauntlet of multiple battles in one run, with as optimal play as possible. Completing the dungeon on the default mode will unlock the challenge mode version of the same dungeon. This version of the dungeon will be the same as the one you just did, but now you're not allowed to revive or heal your pets at all. This means after battle is completed and your pets have taken damage, you must continue with their HP at the amount it was left at. You will be changing your composition frequently as you progress the Pet Battle dungeon, and it will require a large amount of high tier pets and some RNG for the enemy bosses to not crit you, or hopefully miss you more frequently, requiring people to gather as many rare 25 level pets as possible to give them as much cannon fodder to throw at your enemies as possible. After you complete this, it rewards you with the achievement based on whichever dungeon you just finished, and once you're done with all 5, you'll receive the Shadows Revealed achievement, and then you'll get your Mayhem Mind Melder. This toy allows you to control your summoned non-combat pet and move it around at will like you would with your own character. It functions similar to a Warlock's Eye of Kilrog and a Hunter's Eye of the Beast ability. Using this item will dismiss any Hunter or Warlock minions you have summoned on your bars and will have the attack button, but it doesn't work. It has a 2-minute cooldown and a 30-second channel duration. It's not an insanely game-changing toy, but it's for sure fun to mess around with and send your pets into the faces of end bosses and mess with your friends once you have it. The Mind Melder is seen to have less than a 2% collection rate amongst players due to the need to having to pet battle a lot, and lots of commitment for a pretty average toy. A lot of people just don't really know the Pet Battle dungeons even exist in the first place, making it one of the rarest toys in the game still, even though it was added back in patch 8.3 of BFA. And at number 5, we have the Stormforged Vrykul Horn. This toy can only be collected by warrior characters in the Legion class hall of Skyhold. Class halls were garrison-like buildings specifically tailored to the aesthetics of every single class, and can only be accessed by their class. In the case of warriors, this came in the form of Skyhold. Inside the class hall is a very small arena where players may PvP as much or as little as they like for fun with each other. Because this was the warrior class hall, the only thing you would fight were other warriors. Inside the arena, every 3 hours, a chest would spawn that can be looted by anyone, so long as you do not take damage as they begin to open it, similar to the chest in the Gurbashi Arena of Stranglethorn and the Brawling Ring in the Darkwind Fair. You may only loot this chest once a week and must have researched the tier 2 class hall upgrade for honor and glory. If you do not upgrade the class hall, the chest will not be visible for you, but you may enter the arena still and fight players, if there are any. When used, the toy will turn you into a massive gold Vrykul NPC for 10 minutes on a 1 hour long cooldown. This toy may only be farmed as a warrior, meaning you will need to create more warrior characters in order to get more attempts in per week. Fortunately, you can use the toy on any class once you collect it, and the warrior portion is only needed when farming it. And while this toy was very difficult to earn at the time, you will see little competition for it these days. And more so is just the annoyance of getting a character to the point and remembering to do it. And at number 4, we have the All-Seeing Eyes. This toy, when used, would change your character's eyes into large shifting N'Zoth eyes that can scan around them. For N'Zoth Whispers, this toy is a must and can be farmed by combining the All-Seer right and All-Seer left eye. The left eye drops from the Will of N'Zoth rare NPC during the N'Zoth Assault and the Veil of Eternal Blossoms, while the right eye comes from the Gaze of N'Zoth during the Oldham Assault we mentioned earlier. Both of these items have an insanely low drop chance. As mentioned previously, the N'Zoth Assault are a bi-weekly rotation event. So if you obtain the right eye from the Gaze of N'Zoth rare during the Oldham Assault, you must always wait for the Assault of Pandaria to have attempts at it. Interestingly, you can force the Gaze of N'Zoth to spawn quicker if you kill the eyeball NPCs that surround where it typically spawns through a method called spawn cycling. This rare is a mob replacing rare, which is a mob that spawns in place of a normal mob randomly, meaning it will not just spawn, it only spawns in place of another mob. So if you want to farm this rare, you will need to go there and kill the eye stalks till it spawns, so you can't just AFK and wait. Unfortunately, this process cannot be replicated on the Will of N'Zoth NPC. The eyes are also soulbound, meaning you cannot mail them to your other character who may have obtained the adjacent eye necessary for the toy. A single character must obtain both and then combine them. This definitely is an incredibly annoying grind, and you can be there for possibly years, since the predatory mechanic of the eyes not being account bound forces you to farm it on just one character. You could farm it in multiple alts still, but if you get the eye you need for your main character, you still have to get the other eye for the toy. It definitely will leave you struggling and annoyed unless you have great RNG, but that's most of these rare collection items in WoW. And at number 3, we have the Horde and Alliance Flags of Victory. In Warlords of Draenor, players would embark on a journey to create their own garrisons where they could customize the buildings and decor within. One of these buildings was the Gladiator Sanctum, where you could steadily upgrade it in given quests to earn cosmetic rewards and gear. The most notable of these rewards are the Nemesis achievement titles, where you'll be prompted to kill 500 of a specific enemy faction race in either the open world Draenor PvP or the epic battleground Ashran, and only from these two sources. Upgrading the Sanctum level 3 would unlock the ability to queue for an arena called the High Mall Coliseum. Basically, the Coliseum, when it was current, would queue you against 15 other players, including yourself, in a free-for-all arena. The last man standing wins. Even when it was current content, this was a difficult task, as you must come out on top against 14 other players at once. And if you lose, then you'd have to farm another 100 broken bones, otherwise known as getting 100 kills in Ashran. The problem with this toy is that it can only be obtained through queuing in an expansion-specific event that 14 other players must also queue for at the same time as you. A lot of people have abandoned their garrisons, and it's generally impossible to get into the Coliseum without a willing group to help you. In order to effectively complete this, you need 14 other people ready to queue with you with 2 characters for each person with the maxed out Gladiator Sanctum. Then you can all just take turns and let one person after another win. This toy is also not faction shared, meaning you must complete this task on both the Horde and Alliance for both versions of it. Once you win your turn at the Coliseum, you may turn in the quest and receive your flag toy. This toy simply allows you to throw a flag on your faction onto the corpse of an enemy player you just killed, like leaving a calling card on your foes. Completing this tedious grind will also reward the players with the Warlord's Flag of Victory and the Lady/Lord of War titles for your character for winning the Coliseum. This toy will leave you wishing Blizzard would just add the Coliseum as a brawl for everyone to queue for whenever they want, because you need 14 other people's schedules to align with yours, and all put forth the commitment you are for these flags. Although these days, I would not be surprised if they would just make these toys a Twitch drop for some upcoming PvP tournament, which would be a nice way to get people this toy. And at number 2 on this list, we have the Super Simian Sphere. This toy would drop from any high level mob in Northrend or Wrath of the Lich King dungeons and raids. It's known to have a higher drop chance from elite mobs in Northrend and raids, but this is still such an abysmally low number that you may be here for a while. This toy, despite having many sources to farm, has a drop chance of 0.04% across all the mobs on average. It's such an insanely low number that players have reported literally hundreds of thousands of kills on NPCs before even seeing just one of these toys. On use of the sphere, your character will be transformed into a rampaging gorilla trapped within an arcane bubble for 5 minutes, with an hour-long cooldown and a reference to the Monkey Ball franchise, where monkeys roll around courses with translucent spheres. Originally added in Wrath of the Lich King over 15 years ago, this toy is one of the rarest drop items in the entire game, and holds some of the lowest collection rates to ever persist throughout WoW's history. If you put yourself to this farm, may RNG be at your side and make it quick for you, because you might never see a drop. And at number 1 on the rarest obtainable toys in game is the Unstable Portal Emitter and Vixx's Chest of Tricks. These toys can be looted from the area NPC within the Seat of Triumphant dungeon. Once killed, it has a very, very low chance to give you one of the 2 toys he has. It's reported every run has a roughly 7% chance to spawn the necessary NPC, and rumored he's eligible to spawn on Mythic. This rumor, while maybe true, has mostly been confirmed as untrue, as players have gone hundreds of runs of Mythic Evil through the dungeon and haven't seen him spawn yet. You're better off farming it on Heroic and not bothering with Mythic, even if you think it will increase your chances. These toys have some of the lowest obtain rates in the entire game, specifically his unstable portal emitter. Using this toy will open a portal into the Twisting Nether, and clicking it will teleport you to a completely random location in the game. This NPC has a pretty massive aggro range, and engaging this NPC will cause them to flee and begin casting Dimensional Slip, attempting to get away from you, so you need to interrupt and kill him before he can escape. What makes this even more frustrating is Heroic dungeons are daily lockouts, meaning you can only farm it once a day per character. If you kill the boss and he's not there, you can try again on another tune. You'll know that he's up in your run when the first boss dies and you see him yell in chat, "Ah hee hee hee, what a lovely day for me." However, for one reason or another, you may not always see it, so a /target Vixx macro will do you wonders to use after killing the first boss. So not only do you have to run on one character per day, he may not even spawn in the first place. Even when he does finally spawn, it's still a very low drop chance to get either of his toys. Because his content is from Legion, most of the content will drop dead pretty easily, and you won't have to struggle to down anything on your way to the instance cap Blizzard has implemented in WoW. Every hour, you're only allowed to do 10 dungeons, which can very quickly be reached if you're farming this all in multiple characters. This can be negated somewhat by having characters on other realms, however. So, to quickly sum it up, you'll have to be spam running this dungeon a lot if you want both his toys for your collections. His second toy, Vixx's Chest of Tricks, will turn you into a Wormtongue demon and give your character the Collector title for the duration of the buff, so you can at least farm both toys at once. Needless to say, like many other entries on this list, this is the toy that may have you the most frustrated, and is the least obtained in the entire game, coming in at a barely an even 0.5% collection rate on all WoW accounts. Alright, and this completes our list. Toys usually just drop completely randomly, and not often do people give them attention, outside of the few with actual genuine uses and just spam their uses during downtime and raids or to mess with their friends. Hopefully this list gave you a better idea of how rare and grindy even the most niche aspects of the game can be, and maybe even inspire to go after these items yourself. So, were there any toys you think should have been on this list, or have any ideas for future videos just like this one? If so, I'd love to hear about those down in the comments.